Hi all, this is Core with minisgallery.com. In this video, I will give you a quick look at the pre-painted miniatures included in the Dungeons & Dragons Onslaught core set. This set was released by WizKids on January 21st of 2023 and contains 21 pre-painted miniatures. This set is comprised of 2 factions of 6 characters and 9 monsters, one of which is a young black dragon. The only miniature that requires some minor assembly is the Black Dragon. First up is the Young Black Dragon. The Black Dragon in the set follows the general oversized theme of dragon miniatures which we've seen over the past few years. While statistically for the D&D 5e role-playing game this is a large size miniature, it is affixed to a 3-inch in diameter huge size base. The base does have a 2-inch in diameter white ring to denote a large size creature. With its forward-pointing horns, this is indeed a very iconic miniature in the D&D line, and this combined with its size perhaps makes it the feature miniature in this set, which is unfortunate because I believe it really didn't get the attention in the sculpting and painting process which it deserves. The sculpted pose is good, but this miniature lacks details in a few areas, such as the scales on the body are barely present, and the few that are appear more like warty bumps than they do scales. This all-black miniature has no washes, no blending, or highlighting applied, so it feels more like a kid's toy than a pre-painted miniature dragon, painted to the standards we are typically used to. The wings are detachable and seem quite flexible. I think they would stand up well to frequent handling or shifting around in the box during transport without breaking. As a painted board game playing piece, which will hold up well to use and abuse, I think it's a good overall miniature. But if I judge it solely on the merits of being a collectible pre-painted D&D miniature, then to me it feels a little disappointing. The Eton is a pretty good sculpt with some details added to the belt such as skulls, bones, and a bag which hang from it. The paint application is pretty basic, but does not detract from the overall appearance of the miniature, and I did feel that the eyes on mine were painted quite well. This troll appears more like a 1st edition troll than a 5th edition troll to me. This mini received a very basic green and black paint application. While for me this would not be my first pick as a troll to use on a battle map, it is still a good sculpt and well represents a traditional D&D troll. This is the first of 2 gnolls in this set. This mini is labeled as Gnoll 1 and has a lot of good sculpted details, however most are not very visible. Many of these details are either painted over with the gray body paint or are painted a slightly different shade of gray which blends in very closely with the gray body paint. Gnoll 2 got a much better paint application than its predecessor. The many great sculpted details on this mini are captured well with the chosen paint scheme. Next is the first of 4 kobolds in the set, all of which created some unique challenges for my camera's autofocus mode. Kobold number 1 is a good spear-wielding kobold sculpt with a decent paint application. Here is the dual sword-wielding kobold number 2, which is also a sculpt that I like. Kobold number 3 is a spear and turtle shield wielding kobold that also makes for a good sculpt. And Kobold 4 is the archer of the group. The sculpt is fine, however it just seems odd to me that he is wearing some sort of short pants, perhaps which he salvaged from some unfortunate halfling. The first faction of 6 miniatures I will review is the Harper's faction. Abelio McGabbin is a Furbolg male druid. There is a good amount of sculpted detail on the miniature, and the paint application is fairly average, however it does have good eye definition. Drakmal Rockbiter is a barbarian that could perhaps be a fairly pale-faced human female, or perhaps a female Goliath a bit shorter in stature. Lightning Dancer is a tabaxi fighter. This is a nice dual sword-wielding sculpt. There's a lot of fine details on this mini, especially in the armor, which is well painted. Sedona Sparklebang is a gnome female wizard. This small miniature has a lot of very fine details which are also well painted. Grabbleshanks is a goblin ranger. This mini has a fairly average paint application, but I think it is a really good sculpt and is one of my favorite goblin sculpts from WizKids. Barachiel is a male paladin. While his dark brown, reddish skin hue could see him representing a human of darkish skin hue, the lack of pupils in his eyes makes me wonder if he is an Aasimar. Mistral is a male cleric, however I am uncertain of his intended species. With his blue-gray skin hue and white hair, he could be used to represent a drow or a ladrin. I really like the domineering stance of this mini. Jivika, the flowing maple, is a female human monk. While there are not a lot of fine details on this mini, I do really like the pose, and I am happy to see the continued application of human skin tones in a variety of hues. Rock Puratrix the Clanless is a dragonborn sorcerer. I really like the sculpt of this mini and feel that it can be used to represent a variety of classes. The paint application is about average on this mini. Bedlam is a female tiefling warlock. This is a really nice sculpt and with good detail and a decent paint application. Lasael du Arathmir is a female drow rogue. Now, hand crossbows don't always turn out well in sculpts, but this one looks great, as does the rest of the miniature. While the application of paint is nearly non-existent on this mini, it is sort of understandable given that it is representing a shadowy rogue. However, this mini could have benefited from a slight highlight of gray to help depict the many fine details on her armor. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to subscribe to see more of my quick reviews.